You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Jordan Kitchens back there on the ones and twos, and fired up. You are here. Lots to do. Kellen Moore met with the media earlier this morning at the NFL annual meetings. Glenn West, Go 24/7, will be with us at 1:30. Certainly going to talk to Sharif Ishak about the Saints coming up at 2:30. LSU and Louisiana Tech from the box tonight. So lots and lots to do. So let's get things cranked up the same way we do each and every day. That's with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Well, things were promised a couple of weeks ago, and they started to happen yesterday. We're talking, of course, about LSU basketball. There is a toxicity within the LSU fan base with men's basketball that is very, very much understandable to me. I have somehow been painted as some sort of apologist or shill, or it's been humorous to read these things when I feel like I've been pretty honest about the state of the men's basketball program. This past year was a complete failure, disaster. I don't know of anyone who thinks differently. Now, the rubber meets the road a little bit when you want to talk about what needs to be done. And there are a lot of people who were on the board of Matt McMahon has had 3 seasons here. LSU has not taken a step forward. You got to pull the plug and do something different. That might be the right line of thinking. There are some people that say, hey, you were in a sport, in a landscape in collegiate athletics that demands a financial commitment to the players. You're not doing that. You can't really expect to win without committing financially to the players. So make that commitment and see if Matt McMahon can make it work. And does it really matter what side of that fence you come down on? The decision was made by LSU to go ahead, leave Matt McMahon in place, and go pay some players. And you saw the results of that start to happen yesterday. Now, the first news that broke, we were on air for that, and that was when Michael Nwoku committed from Mississippi State. We talked briefly about him. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Nwoku is really big and physical. He's 6'10". He's 245 pounds. He looks the part of an SEC big. Now, he's not a big scorer. He's not been some sort of elite shot blocker or defender. He just has the physical size to go out there and compete in a way that Damian Collins really can't. He's a more proven defensive player and rebounder than Jalen Reed. Now, he's not as skilled as Jalen Reed. He can't put the ball on the floor, finish at the rim like Jalen Reed, but he's more physically developed. He's got the size necessary to go down there with, well, he won't be there next year, but with Janai Broome from Auburn, with Chinyelu from Florida, with the big physical men that you're going to be dealing with. And Robert Miller's not there yet, and Damian Collins is never going to be that big. And so, we'll see if either one of those two guys is on LSU's team next year, but you needed to get more physical, and they did. Nwoku is not going to score 14 points a game. He's not going to grab 13 rebounds a game. He's not going to be a first-team All-League player. He is a role player, but it's a role you need. LSU didn't have it. They went out there and got it. That is one piece to the puzzle. Not going to be a guy I think that you were having to fight everybody off for, but LSU did land a big physical presence that you can put next to Jalen Reed and that you can potentially put next to Robert Miller, and you've got a little bit more physical presence down there. Okay, that's Michael Nwoku. Yesterday evening, the news broke that Deion Thomas committed to LSU. This is different. Deion Thomas comes from UNLV, and I will be completely honest with you. I had never heard of Deion Thomas at 3 o'clock yesterday. Never heard of him. Not once. But pretty easy to do research these days, and I go looking. Well, this is not just some guy they grabbed from UNLV. There are layers to this story. Deion Thomas's dad played for UNLV in the early 90s under Jerry Tarkanian. It appears, based on my reading, he was right after the incredible team that they had that won the national championship by a bajillion points that Larry Johnson played on. And that team is famous for what they did. And Deon Thomas Sr. was right after that. He was an all-league player. He littered the record books at UNLV, but he's a great player for the Runnin' Rebels. And when his basketball life was over, he moved to Vegas and raised his family. And Deon Thomas Jr. is part of that family. He grew up in Las Vegas, the son of a UNLV legend. So he went to UNLV. He could have gone a lot of places. Deon Thomas Jr. was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He was a top 25 player in the nation coming out of high school. And he decided to stay home. He reclassified, got to college early, and has been a starter at point guard for 2 years for UNLV. You're talking about a player that over the course of his 2 seasons as a running Rebel was the Mountain West Co-Freshman of the Year, was second team All-Mountain West, set the Mountain West record for most assists in a season by a freshman, and led the NCAA in assists among freshmen last season. He is very much a ball-dominant player. He's 6'1". He's not huge. He's 185 pounds. He's not an above-the-rim player. He's not some sort of elite-level explosive athlete. He's just really good. And I look at the tape, and I watched his tape from UNLV, and I look at what they're asking him to do and what he does, and you're talking about a guy who's got the basketball in his hands a ton. He shot 36% from the three-point line as a freshman, 35% last year. He averaged, as far as points per game over the course of those 2 seasons, 13.6 and 15.6 points. He dished out 5 assists per game as a freshman, 4.5 as a sophomore. He was the guy for the UNLV offense. He's left-handed. He's really savvy. You can tell he grew up in a basketball house. He'll knock down mid-range jump shots when they're there. He shoots kind of a set shot from 3, but he's a pretty good shooter. He's got great court vision. Like, he's a ball-dominant player that runs the offense, and that's what they're going to bring him to LSU to do. Now, this is a guy that had an opportunity to go to Kentucky or Florida out of the transfer portal and picked LSU. If that doesn't suggest to you that LSU's got the checkbook out, I don't know what to tell you. They do. Now, I'm not telling you that Deon Thomas is going to come in and revitalize LSU basketball and take LSU to the Sweet 16. But here's what I'm telling you. This is a guy that has a chance to be a piece that Matt McMahon has not had at LSU. I don't mean to disparage young athletes, but I'm just going to go ahead and lay these cards out there. Matt McMahon's first year, he brought Juice Hill over from Murray State. It didn't work. 2 years ago, he brought Jalen Cook over from Tennessee. It didn't work. This past year, they brought Jordan Sears in from Tennessee Martin, and it didn't work. So you have continued to bring in small school point guards that have not been able to fill the role in the Southeastern Conference. That just is what it is. And this appears at this point to be a step in the right direction. This is probably the guy who's going to have to shoulder much of the load for LSU basketball next year. Probably. Now, they're going to go spend some more money in the transfer portal. They got to get 2 guys, 2, that can fill it up from 3 if they want to be good. 2. And you feel like in the front court, you've kind of got a pretty good base. But you need a couple of 6'4" to 6'7" guards and wings that can shoot the lights out. And you'll start to move in that direction. I don't know who those guys are. I don't know if LSU's got visits with anybody set up. Like, I'm not sure. They're kind of doing this under a guise of secrecy. The visits aren't being promoted all that much, and all of a sudden the commitments are rolling in. But you see, based on yesterday, that LSU is making a commitment to identify some players, spend the money, and become a more talented basketball team. I'm not here to tell you whether that's going to work or whether it's not. And there is a big faction of the LSU fan base that has already quit on this administration. So that's fine. But I'm here to cover what's going on. This is what's going on. This feels like a pretty big deal. And if you can continue to add to it, then you can put together a team that's good enough. It takes money. And you can talk about how well this team was or wasn't coached. You can talk about the results from 3 years ago in year one if you do or don't want to. The fact of the matter is the biggest variable that you're looking at changing right now with LSU basketball is how you accumulate talent. And essentially, to put this into professional terms, you're trying to go from being the Oakland Athletics to being the Atlanta Braves. You're not trying to be the Dodgers. You're not going to spend as much money as Duke. You're not going to spend as much money as Kansas. You're not trying to be the Dodgers. You're not trying to be the Yankees. But you're trying to be the Braves. The Braves spend money to an extent. They win. That's the Braves. And that's what you're trying to be. You're trying to be towards the middle to just above the middle of the pack in your league in terms of spending, and then you got to coach them. And then you got to go win games. And while the two names that they brought in yesterday are not going to grab headlines, it's not North Carolina's two guard. This is a pair of guys who figure to play a lot of minutes for LSU. And De'Don Thomas has the potential to be the best player on your team next year. And that's a position that Matt McMahon has failed at 3 times. This is the 4th. It needs to hit. You've got to have point guard play in college basketball. And LSU's has not been up to snuff. This has got to change that. We'll see. LSU basketball is going to continue to get that checkbook out, throw money around, and see what kind of talent they can wrangle up. And through one day yesterday, it went pretty well. That's our Genesis opening drive here on this Tuesday. When we come back, Kellen Moore met with reporters down in South Florida. It's the annual NFL meetings, and we've got some updates on that at LouisianaSports.net. I'll talk about it all coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, NFL annual meetings going on down in South Florida today and yesterday. Kellen Moore met with a lot of local media. I did not know, I'm a little bit new to the day-to-day covering of the NFL with LouisianaSports.net. Ross does such an awesome job for us doing that. And I didn't realize, how many of these quote-unquote things the beat writers go to. I guess it makes sense because it's the only team you're covering, and you've got to do that the whole year. So you've got to go wherever there's action. It's not because I'm covering 4 teams at LSU, and so when one season ends, I just go to the next one, just go to the next one, just go to the next one. So it surprised me that all of the media flew down to Florida to do what it appears to me would be to chat with Kellen Moore for 20 minutes. And that was it. I don't know, but Ross's stuff is great on LouisianaSports.net. So I wanted to kind of dive into some of the things that Kellen Moore had to say this morning. First is that the Saints will hold training camp in Metairie. That doesn't really impact me at all, but I know that a lot of the media spent a lot of time in Southern California last summer, and now they'll just drive up Airline Highway. It'll be a little bit different, feeling in terms of temperature out there. But the Saints are going to be in Metairie for training camp. But with the more meat on the bone here, I think that Kellen Moore's answer about backup quarterback and his background as a backup quarterback are interesting, and I think philosophical changes within the organization. The Saints have used backup quarterback as kind of a revolving door for a long time. A long time. It goes back to they had Teddy and Taysom and Jameis and Dalton, and you just kept bringing guys in, and you did draft Haener, and then you did draft Rattler, and those guys have been around a little bit longer, but it's been very much a revolving door, and one that the Saints didn't appear to prioritize settling on. They wanted to make sure that the shelves were stocked, but they would figure out that issue when the time came. And when Derek Carr got hurt this year in the game, they went to Haener. And then they had a game to get ready for over the course of a week, and they got Rattler ready. So Haener was ready to go in the game at a moment's notice. Rattler was the one they wanted to get ready to play a game over the course of a week. So you didn't have a set backup quarterback. You didn't even have one week to week. And Kellen Moore said today, when meeting with the media, he said, I think every team in the NFL is always trying to bring in quarterbacks and develop them under any circumstance. Everyone does homework on quarterbacks. It's a very valuable position. We have Derek, who's played a ton of football, and we feel great about that. And certainly our organization has invested in quarterbacks the last few years. In almost every circumstance, you want to have the backup quarterback defined going into the season, Moore said. You've got to know who your backup quarterback is and just understand that there's a progression there. Not going to say never, ever, but it feels like a pretty strong just because of the reps in season. You have to set it in a certain way. Interesting that they want to cement the backup quarterback, and I don't know if he's talking about Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler. I don't know if it means they want to take one in the draft. Here is my thought, kind of big picture, as we've been kind of monitoring the Saints over the last 3 weeks. They are certainly doing a lot of homework on quarterbacks. Like, they're going down to Pro Day with Cam Ward. They're having dinner with Quinn Ewers. They're going to work out Kyle McCord. Like, they're doing a lot of legwork on quarterbacks. And those quarterbacks are all very different. Like, Cam Ward's probably going to be the first pick in the draft. Quinn Ewers is probably a top 60 pick. Kyle McCord might be a 6th round pick. So it's not like one spot the Saints are looking at quarterback. They're kind of assessing the entirety of the situation. And it feels like they're going to bring one in. Now, I'm not one who consistently is going to spend a lot of time worrying about who the Saints are going to dinner with and who they brought in for these visits. Like, some of those are smoke screens. Some of those visits are going to produce negative results. Like, there's not a lot of correlation. Sometimes a team likes a guy so much that they're not going to draw attention to the fact that they like them. So I'm not going to monitor that too closely. But when there are this many context clues around the position, and you feel like based on the starting quarterback in Derek Carr and the backups and it not being a sure thing, like, Derek Carr's future in New Orleans is very muddy. Like, it may just be one more year. And then you look at Rattler and Haener, and they may not be NFL quarterbacks. So when you're in that kind of situation as an organization, you're just naturally inclined to go and look and see what options you may have for the future. And it appears to me that the Saints will draft a quarterback. Again, you don't know how the draft's going to fall. You don't know what the board may look like. And maybe the Saints really, really like Spencer Rattler. But Kellen Moore has coached a lot of different styles of quarterbacks, had success with different styles of quarterbacks, spent a lot of time as a backup quarterback. In fact, a backup quarterback who went right to quarterback coach. And he understands dynamics in that room and how important each different position is. And I just feel like, as I look at it, it feels likely the Saints go get a quarterback. And I am for that. I'm not for it at 9, as I've said repeatedly. I'm for it later on. Because you can't win the lottery without buying a ticket. And I feel like it's worth buying a ticket once you get into about the 4th round. You see one that you think makes some sense, and we've discussed Kyle McCord, we've discussed Quinn Ewers, we've discussed Jackson Dart, we've discussed Cam Ward, we've discussed a number of guys. I think there's a real chance that the Saints do make that push late in the rounds. And I think that it's because there is clearly a different mindset when it comes to the position now in the organization. I don't think Kellen Moore is going to go through the next 4 seasons in New Orleans with 4 different backup quarterbacks that are just a revolving door. I think he wants to stabilize the quarterback room, not have it in flux all the time. That's just my gut read in the situation based on his career, his quotes from today, and then what the Saints are doing in this roster building mode of the calendar. So I think it's interesting. I'm curious to see how it goes over the next 4 weeks, and we'll continue to learn more about Kellen Moore, how he wants to operate. For so long, you had the Breeze Payton era, and then we pretty much knew what Dennis Allen was trying to do, which was a continuation of that without Drew Brees and Sean Payton. This is a fresh start. This is new. It's what we've been calling for, what we were asking for all December and into January. Just give me something new. This is new, and I think you're going to see a different direction with the Saints coming up in this draft. Jordan Kitchens, do you want the Saints to draft a quarterback in the middle late rounds? Do you want the Saints to take a quarterback at 9?
Definitely not at 9.
Okay.
100% not at 9. We have too many holes to fill. That's
Lots of holes.
Yeah, that's like putting a shoe on an octopus or something. Like, no, we don't need that. I'm all for taking a quarterback in the late rounds, but it just depends on who. I mean, I guess you could say it always depends on who's there, but it just depends on who we've selected. I'll say that.
I think there's a real chance they do it. Again, this can all be smoke screening again. There are probably a lot of guys in the late rounds that you've got eyes on, and you never know who's going to fall. And if somebody falls and the Saints really thought Saints have a third-round grade on this guy, and here comes their pick in round 6, well, there you go. So you never know. But that's kind of where I think things are headed in New Orleans. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, Glenn West, Go 24/7, going to join us, talk all things Tigers. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Reminder, tonight we'll be at Sports Trivia Pizza by Roan's on Perkins, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on the dot. We'll be there. You can eat some wings, eat some pizza, drink some cold beer, win some gift cards. Always have a good time. Pizza by Roan's. Come on by and see us at 8 o'clock. And come by yourself. You can bring a team. Always enjoyable. So hope to see you tonight, 8 o'clock. Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. All right, let's talk some Tigers. Glenn West, senior writer at Go 24/7. Good enough to give us some time each and every Tuesday. Does so now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. Been a busy last 24 hours, but wouldn't have it any other way.
It has. We'll talk some hoops here at the end, but I want to start with baseball here because we haven't talked any baseball on the show today. Tigers get a sweep over the weekend against Mississippi State. It was a weird weekend. There was a lot of waiting around at Alec Box, a lot of early morning finishes, but LSU does win all three games in three different fashions. How big was this weekend for the Tigers?
Yeah, I think it was another step forward for this team. You wanted to see them bounce back in a way that, was really positive after the Texas loss. And I thought that, like you said, they won in three different ways. On Thursday night, they were able to overcome a little bit of a sluggish start from Cade Anderson. Had a guy who hadn't been hit on a whole ton in conference play to that point. Gave up 3 home runs and 5 runs in the first game, and offense had to do what it does best, and they were able to hang a 5 spot there in the middle of that game and really come back and make it a comeback effort. And then I thought on the Friday game, Anthony Ianson and Kason Evans pitched probably the best performance of the year so far by the pitching staff. It was just a great effort from both of those guys. Ianson leaves a situation with runners on base and bases loaded, and is able to get out of that jam. He's able to fight back from 3-0 counts and get strikeouts. And the biggest probably takeaway I had from the entire weekend is that I wouldn't touch the starting rotation right now, if nothing else, because of what you've been able to get from not only Kason Evans but also Zach Cowan in those kind of almost 4th and 5th starter roles, with those guys being able to go 3 or 4 innings and really kind of slam the door shut to help get that series win. And the bats were really what carried LSU through that Saturday game. I think this offense is just really dynamic and can beat you in a number of different ways. I thought Daniel Dickinson and kind of his start to SEC play, that was the big question mark with him coming in, was how would his game translate from Utah Valley to LSU and the SEC. And I think through 3 weeks he's proven that it's not much of a drop-off, if any, in terms of how consistent he's been at the plate, and a number of other guys stepped up as well. So a really good weekend for LSU to beat a team that is probably a little bit better than their record. And now you got to go on the road for 2 straight weekends here and try to continue to have some of this strong momentum that you built over the first 3 weeks.
Let's talk about the 2 bullpen guys that go to Cowan and of course, Evans. Is it sustainable or preferable to use those guys for 50, 60 pitches at a time? Or is that just what they have to do right now?
I think what they were able to do last year with Griffin Herring shows you that it can be done for a season, for the entirety of the season. But I also think that in an ideal world, you'd like to have another 1 or 2 of these bullpen arms really kind of rise to the occasion and continue to develop and improve and be more of a consistent factor for you. You obviously would love to have Gavin Guidry back in at some point this season and pitching big innings as well, because you need more than just those 2 to be able to get through this gauntlet of the schedule. And certainly when you get to postseason play, you're going to need more than just those 2 out of the bullpen to really be consistent and get to where you want to go. But I will say, I think those 2 have it in them to be able to pitch 3-4 innings every weekend, and if it's a tight game, to help LSU win those games. That's how dynamic and impressive that they've been these first couple weeks in the league play. And I haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise, that they won't continue that kind of play going forward.
Where's your confidence in Anthony Ianson right now?
Better. It was the first couple weeks were, a little bit of a struggle for him in terms of getting through the order twice, but I thought he really battled this last weekend, and I thought that was such a huge storyline from this past weekend was him. There was a count there early in the second inning where he got down. He had just walked a batter, and he got down 3-0 to the next guy, and then he comes back and goes strikeout, to kind of get out of a jam in the second inning. And it was kind of like that for a lot of his outing, through the 5 innings that he pitched. And, there were guys that were getting on base, and, he just didn't really give up any kind of damage. He limited it and did a really nice job. I think he had 11 or 12 strikeouts in the game as well. If he's able to land that curveball with the kind of heightened velocity that we saw on the fastball this past weekend, I mean, that was up to 96 in the middle of the game. He's somebody that's capable of going deeper into games and able to limit damage against some of these more prolific SEC offenses. So it's a good start. It's a good one week stretch here, but now you want to see it kind of continue and carry over into the next couple weekends as well.
Offensively, I don't see a hole really. It may not be as star-studded as it was 2 years ago, but is there strength in numbers? Is that kind of what you see?
Yeah, super consistent across the board, 1 through 9. I mean, everybody. I mean, you can pick a spot in the lineup, and I can give you a good, evaluation of how those guys have done, and it's all been pretty positive. I mean, even a guy like Stanfield, who's batting in the 9-hole for you, gets on base a lot. I mean, he draws walks. He sprays the ball into the outfield on hard ground balls and line drives, and is able to turn the lineup over for guys like Jones and Dickinson and Derek Curiel, who's been just a phenomenal leadoff guy for you. Ethan Fry, I think, has done a phenomenal job in the DH spot, getting big hits and big swings when they need them. Everybody in this lineup is producing right now, and I think it's just been it's been really consistent and something that I think should continue, because the way that they operate and the way that they approach every at bat, it puts a lot of stress on pitchers, a lot of stresses on defenses, and you haven't really seen this team go through struggles like they have in years past, where you go 2, 3, 4 games with a struggle, with a lack of discipline or something at the plate. They've been able to really bounce back the next game, the next half inning even, and produce and get big time runs in big time situations.
You feel like William Schmidt gets the ball tonight? I mean, Newt threw, I think, almost 30 pitches on Saturday. He could pitch tonight, but how do you think they handle pitching against Louisiana Tech with another short week?
Yeah, I would imagine that Schmidt gets the ball. I think Newt has done enough out of the bullpen. He's one of those guys that I think, like, if he can continue to step up in the weekend like he has and be a consistent source for them, that's another huge storyline that can develop here over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think they'll probably piece it together tonight, and they'll get a number of guys involved. They'll probably get a couple of the bullpen guys that pitched this last weekend involved. But yeah, I mean, I think you can't give up on William Schmidt's talent and not pitch him at all. Like, he's got to go out there and be able to go two innings or so, and just kind of continue to work on some of the things that have plagued him the last couple of weeks. Just trying to get the ball over the plate, and go from there. But I think he's somebody that absolutely should get to pitch some pretty significant innings here tonight, and we'll see kind of if he can translate that into some more opportunities in SEC play going forward.
Glenn West is our guest, senior writer over there at Go 24/7. All your team coverage, recruiting coverage, they got you covered over at Go 24/7. All right, let's talk some basketball. They land 2 transfer portal commits. You've also seen Corey Chest head into the transfer portal along with Mike Williams. So where do you stand on kind of the goings and comings of LSU basketball at this point?
Yeah, it's been a really good 24 hours for the program in terms of landing the 2 guys, Michael and Woko, and certainly Didon Thomas. I actually just got off the phone with Thomas, and I think LSU fans are really going to like him. He's just a really disciplined young man. Left high school a year early, and so he's still like 19, 20 years old, still a pretty young player. But he has 2 years now of experience at UNLV, running the show, running an offense, and has done a really nice job of doing so in his first couple of years in college. And so he wanted to be a part of the SEC. He wanted to be able to run an offense, and now it's on LSU to get him some players on the perimeter that can shoot the ball, that can drive to the basket, that have some length and some size to them, because this is a player who is really, really good off ball screens, and he's always looking to get other guys involved. He's always looking to make that extra pass, and I think he's going to be a really, really nice offensive engine that LSU just hasn't had, quite frankly, in the last couple of years. But now you got to go get some shooting around him. You've got to continue to work on the front court. I think that they're off to a nice start here, but they've got to go get some more pieces to really see the whole picture of this roster next season.
Not to spoil your story, but did you get an indication from him that there was some sort of promises made that, like, here's what we're going to go get in addition to you in the portal? Like, you mentioned shooting. I think they have to have two guys that can fill it up on the outside. I don't see how you can run an offense this day and age without being able to shoot. Like, Michigan State did it, but I don't know that that's something that's really sustainable. I think I'd rather try to do it a little bit more traditionally than a guy who's been to a million Final Fours in 3 decades. So was there any indication in your conversation that what else they're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly looking for more shooting. He didn't give me specific names or anything like that, but that is certainly going to be an area that LSU is looking to address. They have a couple guys on campus today. They have a couple Zoom calls with other portal prospects as well lined up for this week. So they're going to add some shooting. They're going to add some length. Didon is about 6'1". He's a scrappy defender, but he's somebody that you want to put some length around too on that end of the court as well. So I think you're going to see LSU try to go get some of those 6'4" to 6'7" kind of wing flash forward players that have some size, has some physicality, but that can also fill it up from the outside. I think that's got to be the next step that LSU takes in this transfer portal class.
Football's off for spring break this week, but we've had a good chance to watch a lot of practice over the last 3 weeks. Is there a player or two that you felt like has made a step in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Hilton has gotten a lot of headlines, and he's certainly going to continue to be that guy that I know the fan base is like, let's see it on the field, but I promise you, every time we go out to practice, he's out there and making plays. And I think if he can stay healthy and on the field this year, LSU fans are finally going to get to see that. But the other one from an offensive perspective I'll go with is Bauer Sharp. Like, I think LSU is really going to have some opportunities here to have a 2 tight end set for the majority of the game because of how consistent Bauer Sharp is going to be for them as that second tight end. And the growth that Trey Green has had seemingly over the last several months. That's something that I think is a real positive that kind of opens up the offense in a number of different ways as well. So those are 2 on offense. Defensively, Deshaun Spears, I think, has been really solid for him. I think they've gotten some good play out of Jack Pyburn, but we've only really had 1 full practice to get a chance to look at these guys. So you don't want to overreact or anything off of just 1 full practice and a bunch of 20-minute sessions. But I think they certainly have some more size, some more physicality on that defense, some more speed in the secondary, some more length in the secondary that should pay dividends this fall.
Glenn, we appreciate some time, man.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
Glenn West, senior writer at Go 24/7, all your team coverage, recruiting coverage. They got you covered over at Go 24/7. An SEC basketball program is looking for a new head coach. We'll tell you who and where. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. From the entry level all the way up to the highest end model, every single Genesis vehicle has the same baseline safety features. And those safety features have won them the IIHA safety top pick. It's an incredibly safe line of vehicles. You'll get behind the wheel. You'll sense how comfortable and stylish the Genesis vehicles are. You'll get a full rundown from the brand ambassadors as to what the features are. But just know when you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, you're getting behind one of the safest cars on the road. So again, if you're looking for a sedan all the way up to the SUV, they've got you covered. It's right there on Airline at Piku, across from Women's Hospital. Stop by. It's an incredible facility, great staff. You'll feel like a guest there, not a customer. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Well, movement in the Southeastern Conference as far as basketball coaches. Nobody got fired. Just somebody left. Buzz Williams out of College Station, headed to College Park, Maryland, is where he'll be the head basketball coach starting in 2025. This had been rumored a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and now it is official. John Rothstein sent out the tweet a little bit earlier. You know, it's just one of those deals where I think everybody was ready to make a break. And it's interesting because I could sit here and I really could poke a lot of fun at Texas A&M for their baseball coach who had a ton of success leaving for Big Brother, and then their basketball coach who's had a ton of success relative to A&M's basketball history leaving for Maryland. I could do that, but the fact of the matter, like I don't like Texas A&M's basketball team, but like I don't fear A&M's potential on the basketball court. Like I fear to an extent what they could be in football because there are so few programs that can be what Texas A&M can be. They haven't realized it, thank God, but it exists. Baseball, same thing. Like they can be a national champ. We just saw that they got to the end of the line last year. Basketball, they're no different than LSU in basketball. But Buzz Williams took over in 2019. and has done a really good job at Texas A&M. They went 16-14 his first year, won 10 league games. Then you had the 2020, which is a weird year, and they weren't very good. They were 8-10 overall. But then in 2021, they started this incredible run. And they were 27-13 that year, were the first team left out of the tournament. They went 25-10 the next year and made the NCAA tournament. They were 15-3 in the SEC that year. Then they were 21-15 last year and got to the second round of the tournament. And then this team went 23-11 and got to the second round of the NCAA tournament. I mean, Buzz Williams won 56% of his league games at Texas A&M, and that's with a 2-8 thrown in there in the second year, which was COVID-riddled. So, like, you're talking about 60% win percentage in that league at A&M. That's really good. Now, you're talking about a guy who is on his third athletic director. You had Ross Bjork, who he didn't have a relationship with, apparently, and then you had a quick go with Trev Alberts here, and apparently that never really materialized their relationship. It didn't appear so. And, like, he had 8 seniors on this team. It's possible, if not strongly probable, that A&M is going to be worse at basketball next year. Like, you were going to have to go overhaul the entire roster. 8 seniors walking out the door, including the school's all-time leading scorer. That's going to be tough to deal with. So, for me, I think Maryland's getting a really good coach. Buzz went to Marquette and went to 2 Sweet 16s and an Elite 8 in back-to-back years. He went to Virginia Tech and made the tournament 3 years in a row, including a Sweet 16. Then they were good. A&M was good. There was always a ceiling on what this Texas A&M group was going to be because they didn't shoot it worth a flip, but they rebounded like crazy. But I think it was time for a break for both. I think Buzz is going to go to Maryland and win a lot of basketball games, and we'll see what Texas A&M can do from a basketball coach hiring perspective. Like, you're talking about a carousel that's really slowed down as far as basketball goes. Like, you've got a lot of teams that have hired their coaches. Texas has made a hire. NC State has made a hire. And you're kind of sitting here waiting in the wings. And so we'll see. I mean, obviously, Maryland's made a hire. They hired your coach. So I'm curious what Villanova hired a coach. So it's a weird time for them. It's a weird job. I could get here and tell you that, A&M's such a bunch of losers. All their coaches just bail on them. Every situation is different. I think Jim Schlossnagle probably was happy at Texas A&M to an extent. He wanted that new stadium built, but his best friend is the AD at Texas, and that's just something that came up. And in this instance, I think that the relationship had kind of run its course with the Aggies and Buzz Williams. So I'm curious who they hire. I'm curious what direction they end up going. Probably going to be a mid-major name if I had to guess. And then you hope that it's a hit and not a miss. But
we hope it's a miss.
I certainly hope it's a miss, big time. But again, this is not. I don't look at Texas A&M basketball the way I look at their baseball and football. I look at their baseball and football as resource wealthy as anybody in the sport that has a real opportunity, if you get the coaching hire right, to nail it. And I don't necessarily feel that way about A&M basketball. Plus, my sense on basketball is just not as strong because LSU's not all that relevant today in basketball. It's not.
I do wonder, though, if a guy like Buzz, who he wants to be at a high-level program, and I think when you look at A&M, it's kind of like LSU where men's basketball is playing third or fourth fiddle to other sports. So Maryland, I would say, they're in the ACC, so that's our Big Ten. So that's still a pretty good step in conference play, but
it's a step up in job.
Yeah, it is, and I think
slight.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, and so Buzz to me though is exactly what his teams are going to play like. They've played the same way at every stop he's been at. They're gonna shoot. They're going to shoot a bunch of shots. They're going to heavily offensive rebound. They're going to defend, and he's going to win. I agree with you. I think he's going to win a lot of games at Maryland. I don't know if he will be able to ever get over the hump and get a team to a Final Four and win a championship, but he's a high floor coach, I think, in my opinion. Everywhere he's been, he's
high
won.
Floor.
He's won it everywhere he's been.
I mean, you look at you take out the COVID year, and let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's won 20 games in 8 of 9 years.
Yeah.
If you just take out the COVID year. So, and the one he didn't was his first year at Texas A&M. They went 16-14, and they won 10 league games. They went 10-8 that year in the league. So he's a good coach. He'll do a good job there. Texas A&M probably is going to get a worse coach.
They're probably going to have to go with the Matt McMahon route. They're going to have to go get a guy from a smaller school that's won a lot.
Yeah, sometimes you get a guy from the small school that it's just a home run. You get Nate Oates from Buffalo, and sometimes you get Tony Barbie at Auburn. Like, it just, you get nothing. So it's interesting, it's funny, it's humorous, but I'm more now concerned with, okay, who do they hire? And I think that there's a likelihood the resume that comes into College Station is going to be worse than the one that's leaving. That's just the likelihood at this point. That's it for hour number 1 here on Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of our show today, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Wherever you find your sound, you can find us. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Open the show talking about Deion Thomas and Michael Nwoku, LSU's 2 transfers in basketball and what that means for this program moving forward. Kellen Moore had some quotes from down there at the NFL meetings, so we talked about that at 1:15. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Glenn West, good enough to give us a little bit of time at 1:30. We'll step aside for Sports Center when we come back. We got to get you ready for LSU and Louisiana Tech tonight. Got a couple things that I'm looking for in that game from the box. Sharif Ishak in 35 minutes coming at you as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll step aside for Sports Center and come back with hour 2.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Maryland's hired Texas A&M's Buzz Williams as its new men's basketball coach. The fate of the tush push will have to wait. NFL owners tabled the vote on the proposal to ban the play, so no decision at the league meetings this week. Opponents cite safety concerns. The proposed ban, though, is about more than that, believes ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark.
To me, it's coaches knowing that I ain't got Jalen Hurts. I don't have Josh Allen. I ain't got Deion Dawkins. I don't have Dickerson. I don't have Juergens. I don't have these dudes that are willing to sacrifice, play in and play out on 4th and 1 to go get it done. And if you don't have those dudes, then don't run it. But defensively, you got to find some people to stop it.
The Eagles and Bills, the teams with the most success with the tush push. Owners approved changes to regular season overtime, the replay assist system, and dynamic kickoffs. The NBA suspended Detroit's Isaiah Stewart 2 games, Marcus Sasser and Ron Holland II 1 game each, and Minnesota's Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid each 1 game as a result of Sunday night's fight between the teams.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart could potentially go in the first round. So what exactly are their ceilings? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, not a Monday edition, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate you starting your work week with us. Probably a couple of you listening out there who aren't working this week, and you're not in school this week because it's spring break. Appreciate you locking us in as well. LSU and Louisiana Tech tonight from the box. LSU's unbeaten in midweek games this season. You know, last week I told you I was just really had a weird feeling about that midweek game. Thought LSU might be in some trouble coming off a tough weekend. Looked like, hey, you got a good Louisiana Lafayette team playing well. LSU didn't have Zach Callen or Kason Evans available because they had pitched a lot on the weekend. And thought, it could be some trouble. And LSU scored 9 runs in the first inning. So much for that. Now, you could say that I'm jinxing LSU by saying they hadn't lost a midweek game all year, and that may be true as well. But statistically speaking, LSU's going to lose one of these midweek games at some point. And if you lose one of them, it's just not going to be that big a deal. Let's just not have that be tonight, huh? Louisiana Tech's playing some good baseball. Bulldogs have won 3 weekends in a row. They've won 7 of 10 overall. Of course, LSU's won 4 games in a row and has not, as I mentioned, dropped a midweek game all year. You know, Tech, after a long drought against LSU, has actually had some success in recent years. LSU beat Tech 12 in a row before 2019 when Louisiana Tech beat LSU 11-1. And then in 2022, Jay Johnson's first season in Baton Rouge, Louisiana Tech swept both games against LSU. They played that freezing cold game up in Ruston that Louisiana Tech won because Jordan Thompson was hurt and couldn't throw the ball to first base. And then Tech came to Alec Box and won an extra inning game by 1 run. So Tech's beat LSU a little bit in the last couple of years. We'll see if that continues this evening. As I mentioned, Bulldogs 17-11 on the season. They've got 1 SEC game to their name this year. That was against Oklahoma in Norman back on March the 12th. And OU won that game 9-5. Louisiana Tech, incidentally, is going to be here tonight for a 6:30 first pitch, and they'll be at Louisiana Lafayette tomorrow before going back to Ruston for their conference weekend. So 2 nights in South Louisiana for the Bulldogs. I wrote a little preview at LouisianaSports.net. You can go check that out at the website. But 3 former LSU Tigers are generally in the starting lineup for Louisiana Tech. We'll see what happens tonight. But most of the time, Brody Drost, Barb product, who was at LSU for a couple of seasons, is at Tech now. Zeb Ruddle, who was at LSU the last 2 seasons, is at Louisiana Tech. And then Will Safford, who feels like he's been gone for a while, was actually LSU's opening day starter at second base. And that didn't last very long. But all 3 of those guys who were at LSU are at Louisiana Tech right now. Brody Drost is having the best year among them. He started 16 games for Tech. He's hitting 286 with a home run and 14 runs driven in. Zeb Ruddle has started 21 games. He's hitting 268. And Will Safford has had a rough go offensively, hitting 174 in 25 starts. But he does lead Louisiana Tech in steals with 9 of them. So we'll see those 3 guys at the box this evening. I am watching the catching position in the midweek because Cade Arambidi is doing a lot of that. And I think that's great for 2 reasons. One, you keep Luis Hernandez off his feet. He's the guy that's catching a lot of innings right now. And the way he's swinging the bat, you don't want his body to completely deteriorate over the long season. I mean, this is not a guy who has caught full college seasons. He's been a DH. He's played some first. He's caught a little bit. But this is going to be the biggest workload on him as a collegiate athlete. And when you've got an opportunity to get him off his feet, you got to try to take it. And Cade Arambidi has seized that opportunity. In the wins over UNO and UL Lafayette the last 2 midweeks, Arambidi's 4 for 8 with a double, 2 homers, and 5 runs driven in. So, 1, you get reps for Arambidi. 2, you get Hernandez to rest. And so I'm curious to see what Cade Arambidi looks like tonight. Hopefully he continues to swing the bat well. And most importantly, catches the ball, because the defense is where he's got to make those strides to be the catcher of the future for LSU. I think, by all accounts, LSU's really happy with the way that he's developed thus far, but you got to keep that going. So hopefully Cade is in the starting lineup this evening. And then you got pitching plans, and this one is a little bit muddy because you can throw Jaden Newton this game. He threw 27 pitches on very early Sunday morning. Again, this is just a weird weekend to talk about because of the games that went till 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. But Newt finished Saturday's game close to 2 o'clock a.m. on Sunday morning. He threw 27 pitches. He certainly can go out there and pitch. But it's unlikely, I think, that he does what he's done the last 3 weeks, which is throw 41, 67, and 62 pitches starting midweek games. I think he's probably closer to 20 pitches, maybe an inning of work tonight. You want to get that to start the game, try to get off to a good start? Great. It feels probable that William Schmidt is going to get some run this evening. He did not pitch over the weekend against Mississippi State. I think it'd be a great time to get him 2 or 3 innings. We talked about this a few weeks ago, that William Schmidt had kind of graduated from the midweek guy into the SEC weekend. Well, you've got a situation right now where somebody's got to pitch these innings in a midweek game, and you're probably not going to see any of Zach Cowan or Kason Evans in this game. So you've got to get some length out of somebody. And Newt had been that guy. Maybe he's not now that he pitched late in the last game LSU played over the weekend. So I think my guess is that William Schmidt closed those 45 pitches tonight. Like, that's kind of what I think is going to happen. Most importantly, throw them over the plate. And at this point, you got to know these kids are thinking about that, because it's not just one guy who's isolated and is not quite getting the job done. Like, it's a host of players with the same issue. Too many walks, too many hit by pitches, too many 2-0 and 3-run counts. You got to try to nip that in the bud somehow, some way. So, yeah, I expect to see Jacob Myers tonight. Yes, I expect to see Cooper Williams tonight. Yes, I think Maverick Rizzi is available tonight. But I expect to see William Schmidt as well. And you're talking about a lot of really young pitchers that I just rattled off there. I think Connor Benj is probably available. He's pretty rubber armish, so you can go to him if you got any kind of trouble. But here's the biggest thing as far as winning the game goes from a pitching standpoint. It really helps the pitchers if you go score 10 or 12 runs. And that's what LSU has done a ton of in the midweek. Keep in mind, you're generally facing midweek arms from the other team as well. So when that happens, you got to cash in, you got to take advantage, you've got to score a bunch of runs. And if you can do that, you can allow these LSU pitchers that they want to get into the game a little bit of a leeway to get things done. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see tonight. Again, like, it just feels like, and I'm really not even trying to like grease the wheels here or try to reverse jinx or like, statistically speaking, they're not going to win all these midweek games. Like, everyone's gotten tripped up here or there. And LSU just hasn't to this point. I hope they don't. That'd be great if they don't. It's better if they don't. But everyone else has gotten clipped in one of these midweek games, and LSU is kind of skated. We'll see if that continues tonight. First pitch of the ballgame is at 6:30. You can listen to it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. It'll be Chris Blair and Doug Thompson on the call. They'll be on pregame at 6 o'clock on Eagle, and then they'll have the entire call for you right there on the LSU flagstick, right here on this guarantee, under this guarantee roof. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll talk a little LSU football. Also got to get to some Saints football as well. It's a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, safety is a big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks we know age. Somebody in your life is aging, wants to stay home, and you feel like there are some inherent risks in the bathroom, do what you can to mitigate against those. Get the non-slip floors. Get a walk-in tub for convenience and safety. Put some guardrails in, or a shower with a bench. All those can be big deal to help try to prevent falls in a slippery area in the bathroom. David Vaughn and his team do this kind of stuff all the time. So start with that consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com. Get that consultation. Talk about the financing available. They've got 0% for 18 months. Same as cash. Just got to see if you qualify. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We'll talk to Sharif Ishak in 15 minutes about the New Orleans Saints. Might mix some Pels talk in there as well with Sharif. We'll see what happens. You never know. Jordan, host of Pelican Scoop, who does nothing but talk Pels, says please don't talk about the Pelicans. That means a lot. Let's talk some LSU football. Today, when I was thinking about the LSU football segment I wanted to do, I had a couple things written down, and I decided to gravitate towards the defensive tackle side of things. And the reason why is because I think defensive tackle may have the lowest floor of any of the position groups that we've spent a lot of time talking about. Like, quarterback's floor, I guess, if Nussmeier went out, would be very low. Because you're talking about going to Michael Van Buren, who played last year, but that's not what you're looking to do, I guess I should say. But you look at full strength, if we're taking injuries out, I can't come up with a place on the field that I think could be a real problem outside of defensive tackle. Like, I guess corner could. I guess safety could. But that's like defensive end is not going to be a real problem on this team. Linebacker is not going to be a real problem on this team. Wide receiver is not going to be a real problem on this team. Running back is not going to be a real problem on this team. Tight end is not going to be a real problem on this team. Now you get to the offensive line, yes, we can have that discussion. It's probably offensive line and defensive line. And that's an uncomfortable thing to sit here and talk about because that's the line of scrimmage that you've got to win. And I'm not telling you at all, not at all, that it is going to be a problem. It is going to be a big problem. I'm telling you the potential exists for some real issues. Now, let me paint it sunshine and roses for you real quick, and then we'll get into what I actually think. But let's paint the sunshine and roses at defensive tackle. Jacobian Guillory is a sixth-year player. He's 6'2". He's 320 pounds. He had a phenomenal fall camp last year before the Achilles injury after week 2. And he is a veteran presence that has proven he can play in the SEC. Never been a full-time starter, but he can play. And then you've got Ahmad Bro and Dom McKinley. Bro turned heads early in his freshman year last year. Gained some weight from when he was a 4-star edge player coming out of Ruston. Actually moved his way all the way down inside. Played a lot. Was he uber productive? No, but played a lot as a freshman. That's a good trajectory to be on. McKinley has all the size, 6'6", 310 pounds, had 2 sacks in the game against Oklahoma. Like, there's real talent there that could be very, very helpful. And then you look at the rest of the guys that they've got at defensive tackle. You've got Zion Williams, who's a freshman. You've got Sean Washington. You've got Sydir Mitchell, who you brought in from Texas. You got Brandon Brown and Walter Mathis in this class. Like, there are a lot of numbers and some guys that have some potential. But that's the sunshine and roses piece to this. The other thing is, the other side that I could paint pretty easily is, okay, you've got Jacobian Guillory, who's basically been a backup for 5 years and is off an Achilles injury at 325 pounds. What can you really expect? Bro and McKinley are just that potential. They've never been really impactful interior defensive linemen in the SEC. They've been out there a little bit, but not really impactful. Sydir Mitchell was on the bench at Texas last year. Brandon Brown, Walter Mathis, true freshman. Zion Williams, freshman. Sean Washington, 4th year of college, never really been an impactful defensive lineman. So again, like, that's the two ways to look at it. I can paint it sunshine and roses. I can paint it as a very, very bleak picture. The truth of the matter is it's probably somewhere in the middle of that. It's probably not a disaster. It's probably not awesome. But how much Kyle Williams can get out of that group and what he can turn what's likely a rotation of Jacobian Guillory, Ahmad Bro, Don McKinley, Sean Washington, Sydir Mitchell. Like, that's probably the rotation. If a true freshman gets into the mix, great. But what can he get out of that? The best LSU football teams that we have watched have been elite up front. They have made life really, really difficult on opposing running games. And I think LSU at edge is going to be tough to handle. I think Jack Pyburn is hell on the run game. I think Jamari Butler is big physical dude who can get in there and play the run. I think Patrick Payton is an immense talent. I think Gabe Relaford's got a chance to be an all-SEC player before he leaves LSU. Like, I think LSU on the edge is going to be a handful, both in terms of talent, skill sets, and depth. Because you got 5 guys you feel like you can play on the edge. Can the defensive tackles step up and be a great complement there? That remains to be seen. And if it doesn't happen, and you do give up a lot of yards on the ground between the tackles, and you don't create a lot of pass rush from the interior, and teams do push you around, well, you're going to have trouble accomplishing your goals. You just are. That's just a reality. Like, if you can't stop the run and create some pressure up front, you're going to have a hard time getting where you need to be. And again, I feel like every once in a while when I have one of these segments, I feel like everyone's listening going, God, you're so negative. I'm not. I'm telling you it could be. But I am here to analyze the team. And I'm telling you right now that I feel better about a position group that has Chris Hilton and Arian Anderson and Berrien Brown and Xavion Thomas and Kyle Parker and Nick Anderson than I do about a position group that's got Jacobian Guillory and Ahmad Bro and Dominic McKinley. I feel better about the talent level of Caden Durham and Caleb Jackson and then Harlem Berry than I do about this group. I just do. I feel better about the skins on the wall that Garrett Nussmeier has as opposed to Jacobian Guillory. I don't think any of that is overly negative. I think it's just the reality. And every single team comes into a season with a few question marks. I had questions entering the season about what Daniel Dickinson and Stephen Milam could be in the middle of the infield. I think we've got our answer. They're freaking awesome. And there's a chance after a month of football that I look up and I go, nobody can block Ahmad Bro or Jacobian Guillory. They're just crushing people. And if that happens, then I'm going to look at this LSU team and go, well, they're going to be good on defense. I know they're going to be good on offense. This is a playoff team. But I'm just telling you that in my analysis of the team, I can see a situation where you don't have anyone who's sniffing all league type honors in the interior of your defense on the line. And that makes life a little bit more difficult trying to win at the highest level. I have very little doubt that these guys I'm talking about are good enough to play mediocre football. Like, I don't think they're just complete bums. Far from it. But are they elite? Think of the defensive lines LSU has had with their championship level teams. Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill, Kyle Williams, Chad Lavallee, Tyson Jackson, Glenn Dorsey, Michael Brockers, Benny Logan, Sam Montgomery, Barkevius Mingo. Like, those are dudes. Even Tyler Shelvin was a freaking handful in 2019. And you had him flanked by some really good players on the edges. Rashard Lawrence was an NFL player. Caleb Vaughn was a first-round pick. So I'm just curious about the development of that spot. And hopefully Kyle Williams can be a really big helping hand there. Because you know that group has been dealing with a complete revolving door of position coaches. It was Bo Davis before it was Pete Jenkins. And then it was, you had interim guys fill in because Jimmy Lindsey got sick, because Jamar Cain left. And it's just over and over and over and over. Hopefully Kyle Williams brings a little bit of stability. Hopefully he's the guy that turns the light on for some of these guys. Certainly Ahmad Bro has a history with him, has a relationship with him. And if those guys can come along and be tough to deal with. And we heard, last week, the discussions of what Kyle Williams is teaching. They don't want to be space eaters who let the linebackers roam. They want to get upfield and make some plays. If they do that, I think LSU's a playoff team, because I have fewer questions about what goes on around the rest of the field and more right here. But that's just me. And we're just talking a little spring football here. Guys are away for spring break. They'll come back next week for the final week of spring football, and then LSU's open practice will follow it that weekend, where you go get some autographs, and then they'll get into off-season conditioning and get ready for another football season coming up in 2025. Speaking of another football season, Sharif Ishak covers New Orleans Saints, who are on the precipice of a new season. Kellen Moore down there in South Florida speaking with the media earlier today. We'll get Sharif's thoughts on what he had to say coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, just phenomenal folks to work with. They're experts in the insurance field. A lot of times you'll get a phone call from an insurance broker that says, hey, I'll save you 9%. Send me your policies. I'll shave some cost off. And that's one way to handle your insurance program. You absolutely can do it that way. Try to cut coverages here or there, jack deductibles up, make sure that your premium is as low as possible. That's one way to do it. And certainly the Highland Insurance Group takes into consideration your premiums. But the thing that they are most concerned with is that your policy responds properly when there's an issue. Whether that's a storm, whether that's a car accident or a lawsuit, whatever the case may be, you need your policy to respond properly. You spend a bunch of money up front. You don't want to spend a bunch of money on the back end. That's what the policy's for. And that's what they pride themselves on. If you're trying to call, hey, I need you to save me 20% on my insurance renewal, probably not the call for you. They're not a magic bullet. But they can help you position your business properly with insurance at the right price. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Let's head out to Jim's Farm Sightlines, where we find our guy Sharif Ishak, WDSU, down in New Orleans, talking all things 504. Sharif, how are we doing?
Better that I got to hear your voice past midnight.
There were some people in my house that weren't thrilled with me being at the box until 2 o'clock in the morning, but it is what it is. They won, at least.
Yeah, I got what I wanted. Thank you.
I'm glad I could be there to help you. The Saints, let's talk about them. Do you think they're going to take a quarterback in the NFL draft?
Well, if it's Fletcher, he wants Jackson Dart 10 times if you can give him Jackson Dart 10 times.
Why does he want Jackson Dart 10 times?
He just loves Jackson Dart. He's a Jackson Dart guy. He's been on his bandwagon since day one. You've seen him more than I've seen him. I've only watched him the 2 games he's played against LSU. His stock is rising. I mean, he's got potential for sure, but I'm not drafting him at number 9 overall. Maybe at number 40, I would do it. As for Shedeur Sanders, I might draft Shedeur Sanders at number 9, but I think I'm in the majority. I don't even know if I'm going to draft a quarterback, honestly, Hunt. I think I'd want to address the rest of my team and worry about that next year.
What do you think Kellen Moore thinks?
Well, he's a quarterback guy, obviously. He's been on all these pro days checking out all the quarterbacks. He's probably thinking, what can make my team better this year? But I know they're thinking, he's probably thinking past this year and the ecosystem and having it, having this, team fully replenished for the future. So I'm guessing they're going to probably try to stock up on many positions. What would be perfect for him is if they let him be in control of some of this draft and trade back instead of trading up, like Mickey loves to do. So I just think they need to get pieces around Derek Carr and this entire team in general and get deep in a bunch of areas. And if quarterback is there at 40, do it at 40. But I would try to stay away from it at number 9.
Here's one of my favorite things to do. It's to ask unanswerable questions. Questions my guests couldn't possibly know, but I do it sometimes. Here comes one. How much say do you think Kellen Moore is going to have in how the Saints approach the draft?
I'd probably say 10%, 20%. I think that he knows that Jeff Ireland and his guys and Mickey are going to be mostly in charge of that because that's what they do here. He knows that. I think he knows that's what they do here. I think he'll give them input. I think the only person who really had a strong amount of input more than anyone during this time in the last 20 years is Sean Payton. Sean had a lot of input, one of the players he wanted in the draft. I think now that Sean's out the building, I think they have more control. Jeff Ireland, his company, and Mickey Loomis, they have all that control in the front office in terms of what they want to do in the draft. I think that they'll ask him, hey, what do you need in order to be successful here? Like not this season, but maybe next year and the years after that. And they probably will listen to him. But I would love for Kellen Moore to have more input. I would love for him to bring that Philadelphia mentality and say, hey, they have a bunch of good players that we can get after number 9. Let's move back 5 or 6 spots, collect some picks, and let's reload this entire team. But are they going to listen to him? They might say, no, we're going to move up now and get you this guy. So I just wish that's kind of the way they would go about things. But I think he's going to have a little bit of say-so, but not much.
It's just interesting because everyone is saying the same thing outside of the organization. It's like, y'all need to take a lot of players in this draft. And you look inside the organization, and they just continue to operate the way that they've always operated. And it is a fascinating case study to me on a franchise hell-bent on doing it its way when everyone on the outside's going, this doesn't look like it's working at all.
It's like that. It's like those offenses that are stuck running like underneath the center, fullback and running back, while other teams are running 5 wide and pass-happy offenses. It feels like the Saints are still stuck in, the old days. They just won't, they will not adjust to what everyone else is doing. They will not just, I feel like sometimes they're too proud. They're like, we're going to do it our way, and we're going to show you that we can do it our way and still win. Unfortunately, it has not worked for them. I think everything's passing them by. It's time to get with the times. It's time to become a team that is in 2025 and not 1925. So I think it's time for them to start thinking like other teams do when it comes to the draft.
Kellen Moore spoke today and expressed his confidence in Trevor Penning as the franchise's right tackle. What do you think about that?
I think I've told you a few times, I'm good with the offensive line outside of guard. They need to find left guard. I like what Trevor Penning did last year. I mean, he was serviceable. Now he needs to get beyond that, that mark. He has to show that he's a even better and more reliable and serviceable right tackle, because Fuaga, they're set there at left tackle. Awesome. They're set at center with McCoy. They're set at right guard with Cesar Ruiz. The two questions become is the right tackle and left guard. Could Trevor continue trending in the right direction? Because there were times where the penalties did haunt him, but then there were times he was the best offensive lineman in the game. But he needs to be that best offensive lineman in the game next to Fuaga. So, yeah, I like it. I mean, you invested a first-round pick in him, so you better like him at that right tackle position. Now, if there's another tackle on the board in the second round that you want to take, they could probably play guard and tackle, you take them and see what happens. They need to draft another offensive lineman, Hunt, whether if it's a guard or a guy who play guard and tackle. It has to happen. So I think that they're in a decent spot with Trevor Penning, leaving him there at right tackle, though.
I just feel like they've got to, in some way, shape, or form, over the next 2 drafts, draft 5 starters.
In terms of the entire team, or in terms of the offensive line?
No, the entire team.
Yeah.
And they have not had a hit rate. You cannot continue to stack up Isaiah Foskey's. Like, you can't. No. You'll never get out of this rut.
No, listen. I don't care about free agency. Let me make that clear. You're only going to be successful future-wise if you hit on these next 2 drafts. You have to have this 2017 draft again. I'm not saying it's going to be like a perfect hit, but you have to get close to the 17 draft. You have to find starters. I'm going beyond what you're saying, 5. I think they need to find 8 starters. They need to find 2 drafts. They have a chance with 2 drafts to find 8 starters in your next, for your future. They should be able to do that. I mean, they have enough draft picks. They're not giving away any picks yet. You have enough draft picks to make it. Look, they got 9, 40, 71, and I think 93. They got some high value picks this year. They really do have. They can make it even better if they can just move back from 9 to 15. They can add more picks, and they can be a little bit more of a sustainable franchise and a smarter franchise by doing that. But that's not what Mickey's going to do. No. That's what everybody here wants them to do, but that's not what they're going to do. That's how you get more starters. That's how you become a successful team and franchise in the future, is by drafting, not free agency. They need to draft better.
We'll see. Draft coming up later this month. All right, let's transition over to the Pels, Sharif, as they wind things down. They're sitting everybody for the rest of the season. The guys on the morning show here this morning were going through some of the numbers of how many games Zion and Brandon Ingram and Jose Alvarado and TJ McCollum and Trey Murphy have played, and how many they played together, and it's just mind-blowing. Did you learn anything about the Pelicans this season at all, or was it just a complete waste?
It's complete. I mean, look, I don't want to call it a complete waste, but it was kind of a complete waste. Whenever those 5 guys have missed, the guys are out for the season, all 5 of them, 196 games total. It's not great. Not great when all 5 of those starters have missed 196 games. So incomplete for me, because I have no idea what this team is going to look like when they're fully healthy, and it's just not good. I mean, I went through all of Zion's seasons in terms of games played, 214. I mean, that's not great. I think it was 24, 61, 0, 29, 70, and 30. He's missed 258, played in 214.
Jeez.
But I will say, the 30 games he did play in this year, especially the back half of the season, were pretty awesome. If you get that type of Zion Williamson for 65 games, that's awesome. He played 70 last year. You're going to say, Sharif, well, he won't play 65. But he played 70 last year. And then he played 61 another year. You just got to avoid the 24 and 29 seasons. He's got to be on the court. And I think that, I think most of the problems why he didn't play this year is because the team was pretty tanked out. They were done.
Yeah.
They weren't going to risk him getting hurt so they can keep him healthy going into the offseason. That's, I think the number one goal was whenever they decided to stop playing him a lot, didn't play him in back-to-back games. The season was already over. But what you saw of him on the court, that should be at least a positive sign. But the rest of the team together, it's incomplete. It's just, I've been saying this years after year. It's always incomplete. I mean, even today, when I asked Jose Alvarado, hey, man, you getting tired of this is how many games, all these starters in this, and what you could possibly look like if you're healthy? He goes, I'm sick of the what ifs. He's like, I'm seriously sick of answering the what ifs. What if we are healthy? He's like, we're not. We have to find a way. Simple. I mean, what ifs aren't good enough. He's right.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just been really, really frustrating. Any chance they can get Cooper Flagg?
Look, man, I think karma, they've had so much luck on their side. Look, they've been tanking the right way. I mean, you think about the teams who've been tanking, obviously tanking in front of our own eyes, Utah, the Wizards, Charlotte, not playing all their players, and the Pelicans, at least they tanked by losing with their players. So I think they should be rewarded. But they've been rewarded twice already with the number one pick, and it's not worked out. So it's probably going to be someone else's turn. It's probably going to be Utah or Washington. But it'd be great to have Cooper, Trey, Zion, DeJounte, all those guys in the lineup together. But, they have a 12% chance if they land at number 4, 11%.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It'd be great. But
1 out of 10. You're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There's a chance. Yeah.
All right, Sharif, have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
All right.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, down there in New Orleans. I wish the Pels would get Cooper Flagg. I think that'd be awesome. We're getting Cooper Flagg, Jordan?
No.
Why?
Oh, I literally made a video about this today. It's not what you think. It's more about the teams that are, I would say, above the Pelicans, which I mean worse.
Yep.
They're just that much worse than the Pelicans. So it's just if you had to ask me right now if I was a betting man.
We're going to get one of the 2 Rutgers guys.
I'll be happy with that. I would definitely Dylan Harper because DeJounte's out for the foreseeable future. But if you had to ask me right now, Cooper Flagg will be in the Utah
Who's Rutgers head coach? The 2 top 5
that's
picks.
That's what I was thinking too. They didn't even they
didn't make the tournament.
Yeah, they didn't
2
make the
top
tournament.
5 picks. They didn't make the tournament.
In basketball, if you have one, some teams have one good player and they're really good.
Yeah.
This is a stupid thing, but we have some time, so we'll kick it around. Barstool ran a little Ask the Office thing. Said, who's the worst player in the NBA that would take a 16 seed and win the national championship? I don't... maybe... I guess if you put Giannis on a 16 seed, they're going to win the championship, but I'm not 100% convinced of that.
No, I don't even know about that. I don't know.
I mean, Giannis is going to be tough to guard.
I'm about to say he's one of the best.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No.
I'm going to the extreme of on the best side.
Okay.
I don't think you can take Trey Murphy from the Pelicans and put him on a 16 seed. They're not winning the championship. They're not going to beat Duke.
The worst.
No, I don't
player.
even. Yeah, I don't. It's hard to basketball. Yeah, if you have one player.
I mean, the college kids are not going to be able to guard Giannis or Jokic or any of those guys. They're going to be a problem.
Yes.
But you start talking about just your random wing from the NBA?
No.
No. They're not going to win the championship. They were asking these former NBA guys, they were asking, Pat Bev, and he was saying, there's, dozens of guys that would win the championship.
Would a 16 seed?
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
No, because they have to play a 1 seed. They play a 1 seed the first game. So they have to play one of the best teams in the tournament in the first game. So I
just don't think that these guys on these really good teams can play a little bit of defense.
Yeah, but you're going to be playing against a team that probably has NBA caliber players on it. Yeah. So it's not like you're playing against a mid-level college team.
I mean, I'm with you. I didn't think I thought it was kind of a weird question, but it's one of those unknowable questions. So
if you put Giannis on the 16 seed who played against Duke, They're not winning.
You don't think so?
No.
Giannis might run to their face, man.
Giannis might score 65.
I'm about to say Giannis might score 60.
I don't know if he's going to score 60, but I think Duke.
I mean, he
win.
scores 50 in NBA games.
I'm about to say, I'll say the worst player. I ain't gonna say they'll make the championship, but if you put Zach Edey on a 16 seed, they can make a run just because how big he is.
Yeah, but he just played.
He just played with Purdue.
Last year.
But I'm saying like they wouldn't make the championship. I think he would knock a couple teams out just because he's 7'4".
You just have
and
to.
he was
All you do.
we just watched him.
I'll just double him, and then he maybe still gets 25 or 30, but you can beat him.
Worst player's hard. It's like
all those hypotheticals. Sometimes they're really good discussions. Sometimes they're really stupid. I can't even tell
if
that one's good or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's take a time out and close it up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Look, no one loves taking time out of your day to go to the service station, sit there and watch Price is Right, have them wait to get to your vehicle, then they get to your vehicle, and then you got to wait for them to work on the vehicle. And by the time you get your car, you've wasted half your day. Like, that's not ideal for anybody. That's not going to happen if you're a Genesis driver because they do valet maintenance. They're going to come to you, pick your car up, leave you a loaner. So it's not like you're out of car. You've got a car. Go about your day. They take your car back to the shop. They handle your maintenance, whether that's the oil change, air filter switch, wipers, wiper fluid, whatever the case may be. They handle it. They bring the car back to you. You never miss a beat. That's just part of being a Genesis driver. Also part of being a Genesis driver, 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, you should think luxury vehicle. That's what it is. It's at an affordable price. So go by and see him at Airline Highway near Pico. It's across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is also presented by Lewis Mechanical, Patient Plus, and Action Industries, plus Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevrolet, Luba, and Duplessis Pool Builders. Visit 1045ESPN.com to help us reach our goal, and together we can make dreams come true.
Feeling a little under weather there, Beck?
Yeah, you can't tell?
I can. That's why I brought it up.
Yes, I have a bit of a cold. I pretty much usually have once a year I'll have a cold, and it starts off with a sore throat, then it's scratchy throat, and then it goes from there to the coughing, and then you have the nasal congestion, and then it's over. So I'm at about day 3 of usually 5. So I'm at the tail end, I think.
Good. Well, we'll be pulling for you.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I think I was sick all last week.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from you, hon. I don't want to get you sick.
I'm good now.
Okay.
We're good to go, and I don't think anybody else in my house got sick, which was
that's really
very
good.
important.
Yes, very important.
All right. Should I go to the crawfish boil?
Well, I was gonna. I did have that and take it or leave it.
You did? All right, we can do that then. Let's do that.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, first one. Boiled crawfish in the parking lot. Take it or leave it.
I'm pro boiled crawfish in most senses. So, I may go down there and see what it's about.
Well, you have to answer the question, Hunt.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Appreciate the good people here at Guarantee for throwing us a crawfish boil.
Very nice.
Very much appreciate that. They had it set up. They had the tent all out there, and I was walking down for the show. So we'll see. I think they've been at it for an hour now.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see what the allotment looks like now.
Yeah, and you never know when there's going to be news.
Yeah.
I don't see any news that I have to go right for the website. So maybe you can make some time to go down there. We'll see.
All right, next one. The Cubs have 2 Silver Slugger catchers. Take it or leave it.
Gonna leave that.
Leave it alone.
I don't think. Amaya might be able to hit. Kelly definitely can't hit, even though he hit for the cycle last night in a AAA ballpark.
The first time in 30 years.
Yeah, AAA ballpark.
Yeah, but it's not a small park. It's relatively big.
No, it's fine. Like, it had nothing to do with him, but it's just a stupid place to play
It
baseball.
is stupid that they are doing that. I agree with you.
Seiya Suzuki had to run from the dugout out the fence to go to the
jog to go take
bathroom
some
or
swings.
something.
He wanted to go take some swings in the batting cages. That's what I was telling you during a break earlier. The batting cages are behind the stadium, like 100, 200 feet away from the back part of the left field.
Awesome.
So he had to jog all the way from the dugout to there to take some swings. So, yeah.
Way to
good
go,
stuff.
A's.
Yeah, real good. They're going to be there for 3 years.
Yes, they are.
3 years. All right, last one here. Veteran MLB pitcher Lance Lynn has announced his retirement. Good riddance. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Where did Lance Lynn go to college?
I don't know.
SEC school. He was their ace.
Ole Miss.
That's correct.
This is a random
Ole
guess.
Miss Rebel.
Random guess.
Ole Miss Rebel who pitched for the Cardinals. We don't like that.
Yeah, that's really bad
That's
combination
bad. He
there.
also pitched for the White Sox, who I also don't like.
Yeah, really bad.
Lance Lynn might be a great guy. Don't know. Never
I
met
don't
the
know
guy.
either,
But
but
he went to Ole Miss, was the ace there. A lot of years with the Cardinals and White Sox. That's just a big Ole Miss. That's just not going to.
I don't know you could do much worse.
Yeah, that's about as bad as it gets.
Maybe go to the Brewers, too, just to round it out. But.
As bad as. Have the Brewers had any SEC guys? Brandon Woodruff, Mississippi State to the Brewers.
I sent you the annual text about Miller Park and starting up operations there.
Guy just
he really had to go.
Not using the bathroom at all, just using the concourse as a bathroom. That's bad. That's people in Milwaukee.
Miller Park things.
The Brewers have the worst ERA in baseball history after 4 games, so that's bad.
And that's usually their strong suit is pitching.
Well,
not
when
this
you
year.
let all your pitchers go,
they're not
you don't pay
going to be
them,
bad.
It's tough. So that's good. But look, Brewers fans, it's almost Packers season, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, it is. That's it we got. That's all we got.
All right. Saints are bringing in Quinn Ewers for a top 30 visit.
Top 30 visit? What does that mean?
I think you get to bring in 30 guys for visits.
Oh, I thought you made it sounded like it was like a recruitment thing, like he's like a top 30 guy.
I'm learning a lot of these things as we kind of go along because Ross is all over it at LouisianaSports.net, so he's about to have a story up on that. I've given you my thoughts on Quinn Ewers. I think it's a good go if you get him in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 3rd, 4th round, not necessarily at 9.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't draft Quinn Ewers at 9 anyway, but that's just the point remains. I like the Saints taking a quarterback late. I do not like the Saints taking a quarterback
What about Kyle McCord or Quinn Ewers?
I would take Ewers first, but I'm perfectly okay taking a flyer on McCord.
Yeah.
I saw like Ross did a mock draft that had McCord in the 6th round.
That's pretty
Sign
good.
me up. Guys, 6'3", former like high 4-star recruit, threw for 1 billion yards at Syracuse. Yeah. If it doesn't work, doesn't work. Most 5th-round picks don't work. So, yeah, I'm all in for that. All right. That's it for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Want to remind y'all, if you had not heard this earlier, we're going to have sports trivia again this evening at Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. Always a big time. So come on out and see us. Pizza by Roan's, 8 o'clock. You can bring a team or come by yourself. You can win gift cards, cold beer, wings, pizza. It's a great time. They got great food over at Pizza by Roan's. So hope to see you tonight, 8 o'clock at Perkins location. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. It's the Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. Open the show today talking about the 2 transfers at LSU basketball pulled in. Kellen Moore had some quotes from down there in South Florida, so we talked a little bit about that. Glenn West talking Tigers at 1:30. Buzz Williams headed to Maryland. We mentioned that a little bit briefly. LSU and Tech tonight, 6:30 first pitch. My preview is at the 2 o'clock spot in the show, also over at LouisianaSports.net. Some LSU offensive line, defensive line, and Sharif Ishak talking Saints. That'll do it for us. Matt's going to drive you home next one after further review. We're back tomorrow, same time and same place with a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.